The topic for this debate is that Father's Day should be renamed Special Persons Day. The affirmative team seated to my right is St Peter's Girls and the negative team seated to my left is Pembroke. The speaking time for this debate is 5 minutes. A single warning bell will sound at 1 minute before the speaking time and a double bell will sound at speaking time. Please ensure that your mobile phones are switched off. I declare this debate open and call upon the first affirmative speaker, Olivia Goldsmith.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that Father's Day should be renamed Special Persons Day. We define the topic as renaming Father's Day to Special Persons Day. Three main terms we are going to define are Father's Day, rename and special person. Father's Day is the first Sunday of September and is a day which fathers are particularly honoured by their children, in the form of gifts or greeting cards. Rename is a change an existing name to a new one. Lastly, we define Special Persons Day as a day that celebrates a particular individual, special to oneself regardless of race, gender or sexual orientation. I would also like to add that we are going to limit this debate to Australia. We, the affirmative team, believe that this statement is true. Today's first speaker, I will be talking to you about the impact Special Persons Day will have within a family. This includes that changing Father's Day to Special Persons Day will benefit people who have a deceased father, gay parents, or if they are adopted or a foster child. Our second speaker will be talking about the effect that this name change will have on a broader scale. This includes that it will introduce normalising non-binary genders and deconstruct harmful gender stereotypes. Our third speaker will rebut and sum up our team case. I am going to discuss the impacts of changing Father's Day will have within the family. My first point is that people who have lost a father would not have anyone to celebrate this day with. By renaming Father's Day to Special Persons Day, it would allow many more people to celebrate it with many other people in their life. In fact, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, in South Australia, 25% of households are lone parent households, meaning that the children are raised by only one parent. Out of this, 85% of all one-parent families are lone mother households. These statistics provide evidence that there are many children in Australia living without a father, and if Father's Day were to be changed to Special Persons Day, then many of these children could commemorate other people on this day. This could include grandparents, father figures, aunties or uncles, and even teachers or nannies. By introducing the name Special Persons Day, many people in our society will be included on this day. Following from this, my second point explores the idea that if the name of Father's Day is changed, then people who are adopted or a foster child will feel much more included. Again, many people may think that this would be not such a beneficial idea, but this is often because they only think of the minority of people. They do not think of the minority of people. Dr. Scarlett, convener of Social Justice and Early Childhood Activist Group, explained that shifting language around important days can help the community become more inclusive. This is because the huge range of family structures, many of which have no signified father. According to the Australian Bureau Institute of Health and Welfare, 42,400 children are living as a foster child in 2015. This rate of foster children is increasing on average by 15% per year. These statistics further prove that more and more children are living without a father each year. By changing the name of Father's Day to Special Persons Day, adopted and foster children would be able to recognise a father-like figure instead of their actual father. Again, the name change of Father's Day would strongly benefit the minority of people in Australia and will help the community and ultimately Australia to become more inclusive. Finally, as Australia is further learning to accept same-sex relationships, children of these parents can acknowledge one of them at different times of the year. The 2011 census recorded 6,300 children living in same-sex couple families. This had increased by 46% since the earlier census in 2001, when there were only 3,400 children living with same-sex parents. Following the growing acceptance of gender and sexuality diversity, it is highly unlikely these children will not be minorities, providing that changing Father's Day to Special Persons Day will continue to benefit families. Adding to this, the vast majority, 86% of these children had female same-sex parents. This makes Father's Day exclusive and potentially ostracising. Today's society should come to realise that changing the name of Father's Day to Special Persons Day will embrace the minority groups of Australia. So, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we, the affirmative team, strongly agree that Father's Day should be renamed Special Persons Day because of the reasons I have stated above. Thank you.
I call upon the first negative speaker, Robin Speck.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for today's debate, as stated by the opposition, is that Father's Day should be renamed Special Persons Day. We, the negative team, strongly disagree with this statement. We agree with the provided definition, but we would like to clarify that Father's Day is often a day for celebrating and honouring grandfathers as well as fathers, and that honouring can be found in any form, not just in the giving of cards and gifts. Before I begin my case, I would like to point out some flaws in the opposition's argument. Their first speaker was mainly talking about how changing the name to Special Persons Day can benefit people who may not have fathers in their lives. Firstly, she gave you the example of people who have lost a father. Ladies and gentlemen, Father's Day can come in any shape or form. If you've lost a father, perhaps you can honour them by going and visiting their grave on Father's Day. They also said that changing the name may give the chance for other people to be included, such as people with gay parents or people with single parents. We believe that Special Persons Day is great and, yes, would lead more people being included. But to truly include everyone, you have to consider all the fathers as well. As I will talk about later in my speech, Special Persons Day has no place replacing Father's Day. It should be a separate holiday. Moving on. Today's first speaker, I'll be discussing the profound social value and meaning of Father's Day. My second speaker will be exploring the significant commercial and economic benefits of Father's Day, and my third speaker will rebut the opposition and sum up our team case. Ladies and gentlemen, I would first like to establish that we, the negative team, think Special Persons Day is a great idea. We acknowledge the fact that we're living in a modern world, and many family units may not have a father figure to celebrate, or that many people have significant adults in their lives that are fully deserving of recognition that don't fall into the father or grandfather category. However, we don't believe that Special Persons Day should replace Father's Day. There are 52 Sundays every year. Why change Father's Day to Special Persons Day when you could simply celebrate both? My job today is to prove to you that fatherhood is a unique and irreplaceable institution, fully deserving of its own unique and irreplaceable celebration, separate to whatever Special Persons Day we and the opposition may endorse over today's debate. My first point is pertaining to the biological impacts. Ladies and gentlemen, the opposition may, and already have, speak to you about the political correctness behind today's debate. They may speak about how not all families have a father figure, or about the increasing fluidity in parental roles, gay couples, single parents, you name it. But even most of these families would still have a grandfather who can be honoured on Father's Days. Yes, there may be some situations in which a family may not wish to celebrate Father's Day. That's fine. You don't want to celebrate Father's Day? Don't do it. It's a voluntary holiday. But just because circumstance varies from family to family doesn't change the fact that every single person sitting in this room partially owes their existence to their father. Biologically, a father is a crucial part of the, simply put, child-making team. The father provides half the DNA necessary to develop a child, and without the male side of things, none of us would exist. So yes, while an additional Special Persons Day is a great idea, a unique Father's Day should be retained, if only to acknowledge the fact that fathers are an irreplaceable ingredient to life itself. Mother's Day is much the same as this. The mother plays a unique role both biologically and socially within society that is fully deserving of its own unique celebratory day. But does the opposition wish to rename Mother's Day as well? Far beyond the biological role of fathers, there are many highly valuable social aspects to the time-honoured institution of fatherhood, which are worthy of a focused annual celebration. Father's Day is a day to celebrate fathers and their contribution to a family. It is undeniable that fatherhood is an institution deserving of its own unique celebratory day. But why? What makes fatherhood such an important concept to our society? A report from fathers and their impact on children's well-being, published by the US Department of Health and Human Services, tells us even from birth, children who have an involved father are more likely to be emotionally secure, be confident to explore their surroundings, and as they grow older, have better social connections. Notable sociologist Dr. David Popeno tells us involved fathers bring positive benefits to their children that no other person is as likely to bring. Doctors J. Mosley and E. Thompson's study Fathering Behaviour and Child Outcomes determined that children with good relationships with their fathers were less likely to experience depression, exhibit disruptive behaviour, or to lie, and were far more likely to exhibit pro-social behaviour. Parents are the primary influence for children, and it has been scientifically confirmed for many years that a large majority of traits in a person are inherited, be it through nature or through nurture. How much of yourself do you think you owe to your father? For many of us, I'm sure that upon reflection, it would be far more than expected. How can father sacrifices to a child and contributions to a family be diminished by taking away the one day a year dedicated to appreciating them? We acknowledge that this positive influence that fathers often bring isn't the case for everyone, but a majority of people are hugely influenced by their fathers and grow up being very reliant on fatherhood. So yes, while a special person may be considered a male role model or any role model in a child, it cannot be argued that the role of a father is not a uniquely important one, fully deserving its own unique celebratory day. The nationwide celebration of Father's Day strengthens this bedrock social institution of fatherhood. Why does the opposition want us to weaken that which makes our families and our society stronger? To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, Father's Day should absolutely not be renamed Special Persons Day. Thank you.
I call upon the second affirmative speaker, Sienna Polinsky.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topics for tonight's debate is that Father's Day should be renamed Special Persons Day. We, the affirmative team, strongly believe in this statement. I will now point out some flaws in the opposition's case. The first negative speaker has tried to tell you that they agree with all the people who would be part of Special Persons Day. We are in no way saying fathers aren't going to be celebrated on this day, as the point of this day is that it's for everyone, but instead should include more people who are important to the minority of people. Without those fathers, yes, fathers can be celebrated on Special Persons Day. But why not aim to include more people if we can? My first speaker has already talked about the effects within the family if Father's Day is renamed Special Persons Day. Tonight, I'll be talking to you about the impacts of changing Father's Day to Special Persons Day on a broader scale. My first point is that renaming Father's Day Special Persons Day would be the introduction of normalising non-binary genders. The fact is, Australians pride themselves in having a democracy where people have the right to say what they want, when they want, and yet the non-binary genders and same-sex couples are often discriminated against, as can be seen from the backlash of the postal plebiscite. One Woolworths store decided to take the steps to add a special person's cake to the section where the rest of the Father's Day cakes were. Images of the cake started flooding the supermarket's social media channels, with some aggressive critics saying the message left them sickened to the gut, despite several other shoppers praising the retailer for acknowledging those customers who might not have a traditional father figure to spend the day with, as my first speaker has already talked about. These members of the general public are promoting homophobia. In no way was this cake taking away a chance for anyone who wanted to celebrate Father's Day, as it was accompanied with many Father's Day cakes. This proves the lack of acceptance
for non-binary genders and same-sex couples. A survey taken by the University of California Law Department states 78% of respondents to a large survey reported sexual orientation discrimination through harassment and mistreatment in social environments. Our country is finally starting to acknowledge the minority with the recent voting on same-sex marriage. Though this is a big step, it doesn't just solve other issues the minority of people deal with. Therefore, Father's Day should be renamed Special Persons Day to start the introduction of normalising non-binary genders. My second point is about deconstructing gender stereotypes produced from having the name Father's Day. In the days leading up to it, promotions are seen everywhere, including television, radio, billboards, forcing gift ideas onto consumers. A well-known ad heard around Father's Day is from Bunnings. Their catalogue has both a mother's and father's gift section. Yet, in the Father's Day section, the categories are called Outdoor Dad, Green Thumb Dad, Garage Dad, and DIY Dad. But in the women's categories, the only section with any sort of hands-on gifts, like tools, is the DIY Mum. The other categories are in fact called Entertainer Mum, Decorator Mum, and Gardener Mum. By this day being solely for fathers, it creates inequality in commercialism. If we don't start taking steps into removing it, then there will never be an end. Father's Day, creation of gender stereotypes on children, prove that taking gender and therefore stereotypes out of Father's Day by calling it Special Persons Day is beneficial for not just the adults who are being celebrated, but also the children. In conclusion, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in order to take the steps in normalising non-binary genders and having equality in Australia, we, the affirmative team, strongly believe that Father's Day should be renamed Special Persons Day. Thank you.
I call upon the second negative speaker, Ethan Nichols.
Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, as previously stated, the topic for tonight's debate is that Father's Day should be renamed Special Persons Day, and we the negative team believe this statement is undoubtedly incorrect. But before I begin this evening, I'd like to reinstate that our team is defining the topic to include honouring grandfathers as well as fathers. This evening as second speaker, I'll follow on from my first speaker who spoke about the profound social value and meaning of Father's Day. But first I would like to point out several flaws in the opposition's argument. The first speaker has stated that children of deceased fathers will not be able to celebrate, but as I'm stating in my speech later, Father's Day is a chance for those families to honour the fathers they had. We owe our existence to our fathers. She also stated that this way we can celebrate other important people. But we completely agree. This can be on another day though. Fatherhood is worth celebrating for the half of the DNA that they provided in our body, and it can be kept on a separate day. Their second speaker rebutted my first speaker and how we don't agree with others being celebrated on Father's Day or Special Persons Day. Let's be real. Special people never feel the requirement of a father figure. They may be special, but they aren't the person that gave them half of their DNA in most cases, as most fathers are. Their second speaker went on to say about how it would acknowledge the same-sex parents at different times of the year. I have a source on parenting.com of what two mothers do for their children on Father's Day, which include the honouring of grandfathers. Many of the cases that their speakers have brought up were because of a father not being in a family. But Father's Day, whether a father is in a child's life or not, there is a biological father and existence is owed to them. Father's Day should be a chance to remember them for that. Now to my case. This evening I'll explain to you how Father's Day is not only a voluntary day, that strengthens one of the most profoundly important institutions in our families and society, but that of fatherhood, but it also serves a secondary purpose of social importance, namely economic. Father's Day is a day established initially by retailers around the globe, used to increase the sale of products and services. I will also express the different ways diverse families can celebrate Father's Day to make it meaningful for their circumstances. Father's Day is a voluntary day. There is no obligation for participation. By renaming the day Special Persons Day for other cases it may apply to, it is a slap in the face to all of the wonderful fathers out there who sacrifice so much in their lives for raising their families. Now, according to History.com, Father's Day, first celebrated in 1908, was initially a commercial idea to sell more products. This has then evolved into the Father's Day we know today. Supporting retail industry and a wide range of services is still a huge part of Father's Day. And is this such a bad thing? Supporting the Australian economy is a great thing to do, and even better when we're doing so while celebrating someone who literally provides half the DNA in our body, as my first speaker stated. Ladies and gentlemen, some people would disagree with celebrating Australia Day or the Adelaide Cup Day, and these two are public holidays. Father's Day is a completely opt-in or voluntary system. It is not a government-sanctioned public holiday. There is only a need to participate if you choose to, like the vast majority of Australians do. And remember, Father's Day is also about grandfathers. Most families who don't have a present father still have a grandfather in their lives to celebrate. I found a source on parenting.com which shows a family of 2 mothers, no fathers, that spend Father's Day celebrating their grandfathers. This article shows how children give their Father's Day gifts that they make at school to their grandfather and spend Father's Day with them while also having a full-on Mother's Day. In another instance, SympathySolutions.com have an article written about a father dying when his son was 11. And this kid spent a year or 2 of his life feeling depressed as others had a father and he did not. The article lists the things that this boy and his mother have done for Father's Day since, for instance, writing him a letter or visiting his grave. While many celebrate Father's Day with their father and have an enjoyable time, there is no law, no jurisdiction to how you classify Father's Day. Honouring a father's death is done all around the world on Father's Day, and it's a valuable opportunity for these families to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no need to rename this day Special Persons Day. We completely acknowledge that there are many important people who are deserving of celebration, but there are 52 Sundays in a year. Pick one and we can have another day, by all means. But there is no need to rename an already important day to suit others when the celebration of fatherhood is literally half of life. Ladies and gentlemen, to say the least, there is no need to rename Father's Day, because whoever your father is, wherever he's gone, or whether you know him at all, he will not be forgotten as you, his child, are still here. Every single Australian has or has had a father, and that is and always will be worth honouring through a dedicated Father's Day. Thank you.
I call upon the third affirmative speaker, Ellie Anderson.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. As you already know, the topic for tonight's debate is that Father's Day should be renamed Special Persons Day. We, the affirmative team, strongly agree with this statement. I would like to start by pointing out some flaws in the opposition's argument. Now, the opposition has tried to tell you that Father's Day is a day to honour the fathers that we once had or grandfathers that we do have. So we are not saying that by celebrating Special Persons Day you can't celebrate these deceased fathers or grandfathers. We are saying that we should be including the minority of Australians who have single-sex parents or who simply want to celebrate a loved one who isn't their father, like a father figure, a nanny, an uncle who they don't want to label as their father.
The negative team has also tried to tell you that everyone has a biological father because without a father we wouldn't be alive. But to say that everyone is able to celebrate this day, so yes, everyone has a biological father. However, the minority of Australians who either don't know theirs or because they're adopted or simply have single-sex parents, it is unfair to include these minorities in a day that they are unable to celebrate. Instead, Father's Day should be renamed Special Persons Day so that these people can be included into the celebration. The second negative speaker, stated that renaming Father's Day would be a slap in the face. This is a fallacy and an appeal to the emotion. The negative team has tried to convince you that Special Persons Day should be its own separate holiday. However, we, the affirmative team, disagree with this decision. We have so many of these special days, such as Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, and even Easter, which over the years have become more and more commercialised and less about what we're celebrating. If we keep Father's Day and add another day, it will be seen primarily as an opportunity by commercial companies to just make more money rather than focus on the day that we're celebrating. So we believe the better option is to start by making Father's Day Special Persons Day. So we're not creating another potential commercial opportunity, but instead we are simply getting people to focus on someone special in their life. Now I will sum up my team's case. Our first speaker spoke to you about the impact Special Persons Day would have within a family. Her first point was that people who have lost their fathers don't have anyone to celebrate. If Father's Day were to be renamed, it would include them, all these people, it would include them, allow them to celebrate anyone who is special to them. Her second point was about adopted and foster children who don't want to be forced to label their father figure as a dad, but instead just celebrate how important their father figure is to them. Changing the name would ensure that the minority of the population feel included. Our second speaker brought up the effect renaming this day would have on a broader scale. She spoke to you about how renaming Father's Day would start to normalise non-binary genders, how Australia is a democracy, so everyone should have the same rights and voice. She also spoke about how if we were to change the name to Special Persons Day, it would start the deconstruction of harmful gender stereotypes that Father's Day brings. So, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, while most people love a good dad joke, we need to stand up for the minority and rename Father's Day Special Persons Day. Thank you. I call upon the third negative speaker, Kate Crowley.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for tonight's debate is that Father's Day should be renamed Special Persons Day, as you know. As my colleagues have already explained, we, the negative team, strongly believe that this statement is false. Before I summarise the points made by our first and second speakers, I would like to address and rebut the key arguments raised by the affirmative team. The affirmative team's case is focused on two main issues: the damage within families, such as those with a deceased father or LGBT parents, and the fact that we need to acknowledge non-binary genders and promote equality. They discussed the impact on non-typical families. Every child has a strong paternal figure in their lives, as we've discussed, whether it's a father or a grandfather, and we have included each one of them in our definition. Despite the fact that some academics believe children who do not have a father will suffer from a blow to their self-esteem, the fact remains that, as Ethan stated, this is a voluntary day. All children have a grandfather who they can celebrate, and the day can also be an opportunity for children to remember their fathers if they have passed away. We should not change this meaningful day for the majority just to aid the minority. According to data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics in 2009 and 2010, 19% of families with children aged 0 to 17 were single-parent families, and of these 15%, which is around 3% of total Australian families, were lone fathers. Are these fathers any less important than the single mothers who struggle to balance working and caring for their children? If we change the one day of the year that is devoted to recognizing their contribution, we risk undermining their importance. Single fathers do not deserve to be lumped in with other special people while mothers receive their own day still. We do concede that children have many different special relationships and these all deserve attention. However, we also believe that other special relationships a child may have could be celebrated on other days, as we've stated multiple times, or a family could choose whether to celebrate a different relationship for itself on either Father's Day or Mother's Day. In fact, wouldn't it make so-called special people feel more special to have a day that was completely devoted to them rather than being included in a catch-all for other relationships? As both of our prior speakers have mentioned, there are 52 Sundays in a year. Couldn't one be given over to step-parents, foster parents, or other mentors? Heaven knows we celebrate enough random days, even give them public holidays. We should be able to devote one day of the year to celebrating or at least thinking about the person who gave you 50% of their DNA. They also discussed gender and sexuality roles. Whilst we agree that gender and sexuality is important to consider, it is also important to note that this seems like political correctness to the extreme. The opposition discussed that we risk ostracizing minority groups. However, by changing Father's Day, we risk ostracizing the majority by making them feel less important. As our first speaker discussed, we believe that it is incredibly important to celebrate special people, but we must not do so by removing the day dedicated to one of the most crucial roles in the, as Robin termed it, child-making team. We understand that it's an important day for everyone. It is crucial that we acknowledge the irreplaceable role of a father. We concede completely that we need to celebrate everyone, but we do not concede that it is worth replacing Father's Day. We appreciate just how important it is to acknowledge non-binary genders and break down stereotypes. However, is Father's Day really the perpetuator of these stereotypes he discussed? The opposition brought up the Woolworths cake example. We, the negative team, believe that this example does nothing more than prove our point. The unfortunate fact of the matter is that people are homophobic and would be against a Special Persons Day replacing Father's Day. So the best solution is to simply keep Father's Day and create a separate Special Persons Day. Once again, in their third speaker speech, the opposition has decided that fathers can simply be lumped in on Special Persons Day. However, this is consistently ostracizing to fathers. What about mothers? Mother's Day will stay, but the importance of fathers goes unrecognized? Yes, it may be commercial, but so is Christmas, Easter, Mother's Day, etc. You have a choice as to how much you buy into the commercial nature of the day, for both Father's Day and the newly introduced Special Persons Day. For most families, it's just an opportunity to gather together. Father's Day is important for both social and economic reasons, as our second speaker Ethan discussed. Special Persons Day, on a separate day, will also have this same choice between economic and social benefits. Turning now to a brief summary of our team's case, our first speaker, Robin, discussed the clear and irreplaceable role of a father that deserves celebration, such as the sociological impacts. She also discussed the fact that Father's Day is meaningful in many households. Our second speaker, Ethan, discussed that Father's Day is indeed a voluntary day, and that we aren't forcing anyone to take part. He also covered the important nature of Father's Day and how it benefits the economy. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we strongly believe that Father's Day should not be renamed Special Persons Day. As our team has demonstrated, the father-child relationship is critical in child development, and with changing gender roles, it is vital that fathers receive the recognition they deserve. Thank you and good night.